everyone. So, my name is Ram Mishra, and on behalf of Crime Protect, today I am presenting Zaidali Khoja. Zaidali Khoja did his undergraduate studies from BITS Pilani Dubai campus in computer science branch. Then immediately he joined MBA program in Indian Institute of Management in Bangalore. So, what was the reasons to transiting from undergraduate in computer science to the management degree from one of the India's top business school? I mean the IIM Bangalore. So let us get his insight through this video and what kind of career option you should decide after your you know bachelor's degrees. That's how this video will help you in such cases. So let's start.
Yeah. So Hajat, how are you?
I am fine. How are you?
All going good. So how you are managing this pandemic time nowadays?
So for us, at least for the project that I am a part of, we are, doing like a part remote and part at office mode
Mm-hmm.
while taking care of all precautions. So we do 2, 3 weeks at client site and then we do 1, 2 weeks at home. So, you
Mm-hmm.
know, not not very different from what it used to be, just that, longer client, longer time at client site and longer time at home also.
So both you are balancing, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So I gone through your CV, you which you provided to me, as well as I gone through your LinkedIn profile as well. So Jad, tell me about you was your first rank holder in your school. Then you decided to join computer science branch. So what was the reasons? There are other branches as well. Then tell me about the interest to taking admission into the computer science branch.
So that's a long time ago. Actually, it's more than 7, 8 years now. But I think I had some inclination towards computers from the beginning. I mean, not particularly into coding, but I used to be into jailbreaking phones or doing some kind of tinkering here and there with hardware, etc. So
Mm,
that is where the whole idea of taking computer science came in. I actually talked to a couple of career counselors also.
mhm,
Did some psychometric tests, etc.
mhm,
MBTI and all,
mm,
and they recommended that okay, either you take architecture or you take computer science. These are the
mm,
two fields that you might be able to do well in basis your personality profile. So
mm,
I thought, okay, because architecture again is all drawing and everything, which is not my cup of tea. So I thought, okay, let's go ahead with computer science. Anyway, I was into
mm,
technology from the get go.
mhm,
So yeah, that is how it started. I didn't essentially have any inclination towards coding, etc.
mm,
In fact, I started coding, or I started proper coding after coming to college. Before that, I didn't have a lot of exposure either.
mm.
So yeah,
So in school, basically, you took physics, chemistry, math, right?
yeah, we had computers, we had
Mm,
basic coding, but I wasn't like a hardcore coder like some of my other batchmates who had
mhm,
already done very advanced either C++ or Java. So I
mhm,
was I was a newbie back then.
mhm. But
Yeah.
during the school time, Jayad, mostly people used to target IITs, especially in India. So what was your
Mm.
perspective? Means how you was preparing for your uh, getting engineering admissions to these top colleges? Tell me that part as well.
So honestly, I mean, I didn't officially prepare for IIT.
Mm,
I was focusing more on my boards actually. So I didn't go to Kota or Rajasthan or any of those coaching classes. I just relied on whatever was taught at our state board tuitions, etc.
mm,
And through that, I went into, I got admission into the NIT, into NIT Surat,
mm,
basically where I'm from. But
mhm,
then, between that and BITS, I went with BITS Dubai, thinking that, okay, that
mhm,
international exposure,
mm,
living in a new country might be a good experience after all.
mhm,
So
mm.
that is how the decision came.
Okay, so living in NIT Surat, which is near, near to your house, and then living that. So how you can say compare these two institutes? I mean, all NITs and BITS Pilani.
Mm. So I mean, I wouldn't take an opinion here about which college is better, etc. But
Mm,
basically I was sure about taking computer science.
Hmm.
So I compared the computer science across the two institutes and thought, okay, BITS is the better choice. So I went ahead with that.
Oh, yeah, true, true. Especially for computer science, the BITS alumni, they are in all top companies. So that is true. It was the, I
Yeah.
think better choice for you. Okay. So when did you come to know that? Basically, especially in school, many of the, if you are in schools like you was in Surat, right? During that time.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
was in Surat.
yeah, so when you come to know that the BITS plan is also one of the institutes, whether your parents were knowing already, yeah, you came to know.
No, I was the one who found out.
Oh,
Parents didn't know anything beyond IITs and NITs, but
uh, so
maybe
you
I
you
found
only
out that.
find it out, huh?
Yeah, yeah, I found out.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Jad, what happened, especially in school, we don't know which university stop. Even in my time, when in 2006 I was taking admission, and I was knowing only the Banaras Hindu University. Okay,
Correct.
after that, I was not knowing what is IIT, what is NIT, where to took, take admission, all this thing. So it's very, but I, by the way, if you are in top cities where internet facilities and everything is easily available,
Mm.
so now it's easy to compare and get the things very well. Okay, so after passing your school, then you got into the Pilani Dubai campus. Tell me this 4 year of life. How did you enjoy, and what kind of extracurriculum activities you was participating? Uh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think these 4 years were brilliant. I think obviously I loved the content of the course. I think
Mm,
really enjoyed the curriculum, but beyond that, I think it gave me a lot of opportunities to find out what I loved.
mm,
I was a new coder, so I always thought, okay, how will I be able to compare? But then I used to, sit extra hours in the library, work some, do some practice, etc. And
mm,
somewhere around the end of second year, I got into iOS development. I think that was a major turning point for me in my time at bits. So post that, I think did a lot of work outside in
mm,
freelancing for iOS development. I did a course in bits Dubai also, where I taught some 50 odd students
mm,
how to develop apps for iOS. So I think, yeah, after my second year, most of my time went either on my thesis or on developing apps for iOS. So I think bits gave me that opportunity to try out new things. All
yeah.
of the exposure, mentorship from the faculty was there
Mm,
on how to go about solving a problem. I in fact did an iOS development project just to sharpen my skills under Dr. Sujala Shetty.
mhm,
So I think that was also very very useful in just getting to do some real life work on iOS development.
mm,
I think that was a major highlight, or in terms of extracurriculars, I think that I particularly enjoyed during
mm.
my time.
Mm. Okay, Jayad, but in BITS planning follow the relative grading system, and I saw definitely in many of the semester you might be, got it's 10 out of 10 GPA. And going taking extra classes for your juniors in evening time, then um, like iOS development, you was taking extra classes along with that, taking care of your assignments, labs, lectures, classes. So what was reasons, what the formula you was applying, to maintain your GPA 100 out of 100? Tell me that,
No, I think
because mm,
no, I think I just had one formula that whatever I do, whenever I do, I used to do it with full attention. So
ah,
when I was in class, I used to listen, take notes, etc., so that once I am back, I don't need to open it till the exams. That was my strategy. I was like a last minute preparer for exams.
ah,
So yeah, I mean, and when I used to work on development, I used to work on development. I used to plan out my day so that I get enough time for the assignments, etc., and enough time for you know coursework or
mm,
extracurriculars, etc. And I started getting more into extracurriculars after my second year,
mm,
because by then I was well settled into the system, so I knew how what's the academic rigor that I need to follow, what is the kind of schedule that I'm going to face, and
mm,
I could very well plan out my day across these activities.
yeah.
So I think, yeah, just doing paying full attention to or doing wholeheartedly whatever you are doing at any point of time. I think that is very important.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you don't pay enough attention in class, you will have to spend the rest of the day just brushing up what you missed. So I
True.
think that then spoils the time management a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when around I think second year, third year, then you started planning for your master's program as well, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
what are the top and yeah, the first question I should ask basically the mostly what I saw in computer sciences branch, most of the students going for master of science in computer science, MS. They are going for MS, definitely 99.99% student. And what was the reason? I think in my known, you are the first IIMs, MBA persons who after having degree in computer science from BITS Pilani went to business management line. So, so tell me
Yeah,
that
yeah.
part. Yeah.
So again, funny story here. So as I said, I had my fair share of coding experience in my second end of second year, third
Mm,
year, etc.
mm,
And that somewhere around that time, although it was fun to be able to build something, it wasn't really something that I wanted as a career.
mm,
So, in my third year, when I got the chance to take some electives, etc.,
mm,
I tried my hand at economics. I tried my hand at finance, accounting, etc. Found
mm,
all of that
mm,
pretty interesting because it was more relatable
mhm.
and more real, more
Yeah.
applicable to real life somehow.
Yeah.
And that is where I talked to a few people from IIM and
Mm,
found the whole idea of getting to do an MBA there pretty interesting. So
mm,
that is how I thought, okay, let me not just restrict myself to technology.
mm,
Let us do something further.
mm,
And the original thought in my mind when I was doing an MBA was, or when I was planning for an MBA is, okay, I like tech. If I do an MBA, I can anyway get into something like product management, etc., where
mm,
I can do both.
mm,
But after I got into MBA, went into consulting,
mm,
somehow my there was a change in inclination basis,
mm,
discussions with seniors, etc.
mm,
But anyway, yeah, the reason for doing an MBA was just to open up more options in terms of career choices, in terms of what I want to do in life.
mm. Yeah, yeah, true, true. And especially if you are having MBA from IIMs, so mostly the worldwide, all the companies having they have opened the doors for you. That is there because they have made that much respectable kind of environment and that much quality. So okay, so when did you started preparing for this like getting into the IIMs? Yeah.
Yeah, so somewhere around the end of my third year
Mm,
is where I started preparing for GMAT because I had to, fill out the admission forms, etc. by mid of fourth year. So
mm,
that is when I started preparing. So I think I devoted some 2 to 3 months
mm.
to GMAT preparation and then, started with the applications.
Okay. So, along with Indian Business School, where did you apply in different places, in different countries?
No, so I applied only. So my understanding again, my willingness was to go back to India and
Hmm,
settle there for some time.
hmm,
So I only applied to IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, and Calcutta,
hmm.
and I applied to the YLP Young Leaders Program of ISB.
Okay. So, in all the management colleges, you got accepted, yeah, only the Bangalore.
No, so I got my acceptance from Bangalore, and
Hmm,
that was my priority also.
hmm,
Given that they, at that time, I mean,
hmm,
I was more interested in research, and Bangalore was one of the campuses, one of the leading campuses when it comes to research and academia.
hmm,
So, okay, this might be the right place.
hmm. Okay. So after getting into the IIM Bangalore. So, what differences you find from BITS Pilani Dubai campus to IIM Bangalore, and what are the different courses you studied there? Because in BITS Dubai you have so many elective options. You can select any number of courses and any kind of courses. So, how
Mm.
different it was from here to there? And tell me, because many juniors are preparing for getting into these colleges. So maybe that will
Yeah,
help.
so I think fundamentally very different. So, when I was in college, so
Hmm.
it was a 4 year course. So obviously content was more spread out. You
Hmm.
get a lot more opportunities to, do extracurriculars and, try something out. It is a lot more chill, I would say, compared to an
Hmm.
IIM where you are studying maybe 7, 8 courses in a period of 6 months,
Hmm.
and in a period of 3 to 4 months, actually, not even 6 months. And essentially the number of courses that you do in 4 years at BITS, you end up doing in 2 years at IIM.
Hmm.
And the rigor is much more high. The bar itself is much more higher because
Hmm.
everybody is from a top college. Everybody has a lot of strong pedigree to back them.
Hmm.
So the competition as such is very high, and you are always on your toes
Hmm.
because to be able to just keep up with the load of assignments, etc.
Hmm.
It's pretty hectic. I think
Hmm.
most people in their first couple of months don't get more than 4 5 hours of sleep unless they are very good at time management, which most of us aren't. It's pretty exhilarating. It's pretty
Hmm.
hectic, but it's equally fun at the same time because you go through a very steep learning curve,
Hmm.
and you are suddenly introduced to a lot of new concepts. So I spend my time doing studying concepts in economics,
Hmm.
some courses in strategy, finance,
Hmm.
marketing, a good mix of multiple kinds of subjects. So
Hmm.
I think that exposure was pretty good. I think it opens up your thinking to a lot of different perspectives, plus
Hmm.
the kind of discussions that you have in class. There's a lot more participation, a lot more two-way kind of communication during classes.
Hmm.
So I think that also really helps build your perspective on how the world thinks, how people from different backgrounds think. And I think is much more much more useful than
Hmm.
what is actually taught in class. Those
Hmm.
discussions is what makes the whole experience so fulfilling.
Hmm. Okay, so I think Jayad, you was one of the youngest one when you admitted. Yeah, what was the averages of
I wasn't the youngest one, but I was among the relatively younger people. So I think I joined when I was 23,
Hmm.
and the average batch age was close to 24.5, 25.
So
Given that
mostly
a
the
lot of people
few of might be more than 30, 35, 36 years.
nay, not so much,
Hmm.
because after a point, people tend to go for executive programs
Hmm.
rather than the rather than the core MBA program. So
Hmm.
I think yeah, fair bit of batch. Most of them around the 25, 27
20. Oh,
age
that's, I
age
think
group.
that's fine. Yeah, because few went for job, then again coming back to preparing for CAT exam,
Yeah,
then getting, yeah,
yeah.
that happens. Okay, so then when I mean, what was the culture of getting into the corporate, especially in BITS Pilani? They used to provide the practice school 1, practice school 2.
Hmm.
If you are going for thesis, then thesis option is there. So what is the culture of getting intern positions in top companies? Tell me that part.
Yeah. So, so I think there are two parts. One, I think at the end of our first year,
Hmm.
we are given a 2 month internship. So
Hmm.
the process for that starts much earlier,
Hmm.
around 3 4 months into the course, where
Hmm.
we prepare for different kinds of interviews, consulting, etc. And then there is a round of summer internship placements that happens.
Hmm.
It's over 3 4 days where companies come and interviews, etc. are done.
Hmm.
So post that, I think during the internship,
Hmm.
some of the people they get replacement offers,
Hmm.
and depending on whether they accept it or not,
Hmm.
some of them get placed at the end of the first year,
Hmm.
and after that, in the second year, then there is another round of lateral placements,
Hmm.
which are roles for people with some work experience, let's say 4 5 years, some 2 years, etc. It's for more people with work ex, and then there is another third round
Hmm.
of final placements where the rest of the batch sits
Hmm.
for placements. And a lot of companies overlap between the internship and the final placement,
Hmm.
but essentially this is how the process happens.
Hmm. So it is quite different from Bits Pilani, I think. Quite different.
Yeah, yeah, fairly different, fairly different.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so uh, how many companies given offer to you while you appeared for interview?
Oh, so Bangalore process is a bit different. So
Hmm.
our process is designed such that as soon as you get a job offer,
Hmm.
you cannot sit further into the process.
Hmm.
So my interview with BCG was my first interview,
Hmm.
and fortunately I was able to make it. So post that I was just out of the process. So essentially I just got one offer.
Okay. So Zaid, does any software company also visit for placement, or only this consulting company like BCG, KPMG, and all this? Uh, Tell
No,
me.
no. So there are a lot of companies that come in for product management kind of roles. So there
Hmm.
is, I think, there's Microsoft, Google, etc. They do come to campus. I
Hmm.
think Media.net, Direct I
Hmm.
also come to campus. There's a lot of companies, but these are just the ones on the top of my mind.
Hmm.
But yeah, there is a good mix of companies across consulting, finance, marketing. There are companies on general management. There are companies on product management. There are companies on sales, etc. A lot of a very good mix of 100 odd companies comes to
Hmm.
campus for placements.
Mm. Okay, so what the BCG do? Basically, BCGs, these are the very top consulting company. But what is their works? Basically, we know what the Microsoft does. We know what Google is doing. We know, but
Yeah.
this company like KPMG and BCG, we don't know. I think the people who are going for MBA line and getting into the role, they understand very well their role. So, can you tell me that part as well?
Yeah. So essentially, what BCG or any consulting company does is clients come to us with a problem statement,
Hmm.
or let's say they are suffering from lowering market share, or they are their profits are declining, or they want to explore entry into a new market.
Hmm.
So they reach out to consulting companies. Sometimes consulting companies reach out to them,
Hmm.
and then we bring in a team of consultants to solve that problem for them, to answer their questions for them. Now
Hmm.
it could be a problem on how the company can grow to maybe 2x or 3x of the revenues in a year
Hmm.
or in 2 years,
Hmm.
versus how can the company become more profitable, cut down costs. So essentially the problem statement could be anything
Hmm.
and could be from any sector,
Hmm.
and we can come in and solve it using while working with the clients and understanding the business, etc.
Hmm. Okay, great, nice. So okay, you got pre-placement offer in BCG.
Yeah.
So pre-placement offer, I mean, you first join as an intern, then they give an offer letter. Yeah, how?
Yeah, so I worked as an intern
Hmm.
for 2 months on
Hmm.
a project in South India.
Hmm.
Post that, basis my performance, the firm decided to give me a pre-placement offer
Hmm.
to join full time once I finish my MBA.
Okay. So, what kind of performance you shown during your internship time? Is how exactly, is there any project manager allotted to you who was taking care of your you can say performance? How exactly it happens?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, there are two people who are continuously, helping you out during the whole process. So there is your manager, of course, the
Mm,
project leader,
mm,
and then there is a consultant below him or her, who will basically cover you
mm,
and guide you on how to approach a problem, how
mm,
to present to clients, how to
mm,
have discussions with your manager, etc.
mm,
And you just have to make sure that you are following all the guidelines properly, ensuring that anything that you learn, any mistake that you make, you immediately or try to correct that as soon as possible. I think if you take care of those hygiene things and do well on the module or piece that is assigned to you, I think it's fairly straightforward from there.
Yeah, true. And you ranked first in school, you ranked first in engineering degree. I mean, it's Pilani, and you haven't told us about what was your rank in IIM Bangalore in the whole class.
So
whether,
I
whether the rank, these ranks matter there or not. Only admissions. Once you got the admission, that is the more than rank, huh?
no, I think yeah. So again, I would not discredit academics in any way. I think they are important and will continue to be important for
Hmm,
whoever is aspiring to go there. But I think yeah, after I got my placement offer, I kind of uh, didn't take academics, didn't worry about academics so much
hmm,
as I did before my placements. And post that I was more into extracurriculars. I was working in the entrepreneurship cell. I was working in the social impact club, as a
hmm,
designer, organizing events, etc. So just wanted to get a different kind of experience in Bangalore also. So
hmm,
I thought, okay, let us just make sure academics are happening normally, and let us try out other things too. So I
hmm,
spent a lot of my second year time
hmm.
focusing on extracurriculars as well.
Mhm. Well, Zayad, one thing, once you get the degree from IIM, so risk-taking capacity, I think, get increased, right? So I think many students, especially in India, they used to do MBA from other colleges as well. Why they are not coming forward for startup? Yeah, I think many of the startup coming from either IIMs or IITs. What could be the reasons? Is there any a gap in education's quality? Yeah, what could be the reason? Can you tell me that part?
So again, I am not a believer in the fact that college has an impact. Obviously, it can impact in terms of the kind of network that you are able to build.
Hmm,
So you if you get into an IIM or an IIT, you have a strong network of alumni to reach out to,
true.
who are willing to back your ideas, who are willing to, give you the resources to, operate, give you the right guidance to start up, etc.
Hmm,
And, but sometimes in some other colleges, that alumni network may not be as strong. I mean, again, it depends. I mean, it is again a big factor of how motivated you are and how enterprising you are. That
hmm,
is the first and foremost thing.
hmm, hmm,
Before I have personally met many businessmen who haven't even gone to college but
hmm,
are doing very well in life, right? Because they are willing to put in the effort. They are willing to take that risk.
hmm,
Sometimes, personally, I think. A degree from IIM gives you such a such a comfort in terms of a high paying job, or a safety net, that sometimes in fact your risk taking ability might decrease, because you might
hmm,
think that, okay, I have a job, I am getting paid enough to sustain myself.
hmm,
Why do I need to take that risk?
hmm,
Sometimes that thought may even make some people risk averse. Again, it is
hmm,
very difficult to generalize, but
hmm,
something that I am just quoting, this is my observations.
hmm,
So I think you cannot attribute it completely to a college.
hmm,
It really depends on the person's willingness to be able to, and sometimes I think people from less privileged backgrounds actually do well in such systems, because they know how to, they are basically good at jugaad.
yeah,
That is what I would say. they are
hmm,
they are very good at figuring out adversity opportunities from adversity,
hmm,
because they
true.
have been through that kind of a system.
Hmm.
But again, very difficult to generalize.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and one of the course you did from France also. How did you got into there? Tell me, because you explored by yourself. Yeah, institute has provided that opportunities.
No, so I think IIMs provide you the opportunity to go for an exchange semester
Hmm,
in another country
hmm,
for 3 months. So
hmm,
I went ahead with that option,
hmm,
and chose to go to France.
Hmm.
So that was a
Yeah, the
pretty
most
good
of the
experience.
top business school are in France only. I think, Jayad, your batchmate, I think your juniors, so many went for
Mm.
like
Yeah,
ISEC business
yeah.
school. Yeah,
I actually met some of them as well when I was in France. So yeah, a lot of people there.
yeah, yeah. So many students from, especially from BITS Dubai, I saw they went to France. They did their degree, and they are doing very great job in many of the top companies.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
okay, so tell me about that part. You did one research work also, highway recommended system. How you done
Mm,
something related to in IIM Bangalore as well, because in for the business analytics, so many IIM Bangalore is launching so many new courses. I think one of the IIMs which is up to date according to the market, and living
mm,
you are the campus is also located in one of the top tech city in India. So
mm.
tell me that research in climate, what kind of things you did in this research paper, and after that, what where did you apply it?
So I think if I talk about my research at BITS, I think the whole motivation the i- or the willingness to do this came from Amazon.
Hmm,
I think I was really fascinated by their recommendation engine. So I
hmm,
started reading about that and thought, okay, let us try
hmm,
and identify a different kind of use case for
hmm,
a recommender system, and
hmm,
let's try to build one, myself.
hmm,
So I, started working, talked to Dr. Sujala and started working on a project, thought of taking it up as my thesis.
hmm,
Suppose that I think, yeah, it was pretty interesting. And that's where I got to really combine my knowledge from,
hmm,
some AI courses that I had taken on campus,
hmm,
the iOS development projects that I had done, and the regular coding knowledge that I had acquired. So I think all of that came into one project where I got to learn about a new concept, code out the algorithm completely, and finally build a front end to demonstrate it.
hmm,
So
hmm, hmm,
everything from scratch. So I think that was pretty interesting
hmm,
to do. I think it was a culmination of everything that I had learned in my 4 years. So I think very satisfying kind of project for me.
hmm. Okay, Jayad, if mostly what happens, computer scientists, I mean, who are complete in computer science, they did graduation, undergraduate in computer science, graduate, postgraduate in computer science. They used to think that the people who are going to MBA line, they might be not knowing coding. So if you are
Mm.
getting such kind of challenge, how will you deal with that? Let's say the BCG has given to develop a software product, and you are only the persons who knows about developing iOS apps or software development. Will you able to accept it? Yeah, how exactly you will tackle it?
So even in consulting, I haven't really lost touch with coding. So
Hmm,
a lot of times we have to deliver complex Excels, very heavy Excel files to the clients,
hmm,
basis their requirement.
hmm.
So sometimes for a particular use case, I have had to use VBA coding to be able
Micro
to
coding.
write some macros,
Hmm,
automate some file reads, etc.
hmm,
So I think I haven't really lost touch
hmm,
with coding a lot.
hmm,
Even during my time at IIM Bangalore, I think while I was a part of the entrepreneurship cell, we developed an app for taking entries. Basically, we developed a QR based system to track who is going where and how much is the attendance across events. So
hmm,
didn't really lose my touch with coding.
hmm, hmm.
Just spent less time doing it than I used
Ah,
to during undergrad. So
okay.
still, I mean, I wouldn't say that I have completely lost touch with coding, but
Hmm.
I'm a bit rusty, I would say.
Yeah, so I think this computer science students who are going for management lines, of course the everything is computerized nowadays, and if you are more and more you know I think edgy with your computer system, that is going to be benefit you. Yeah, that's for sure. Okay,
Correct,
so
correct.
you have you know decided to work in India only, or you are looking for global opportunities as well? Let's say the BCG is giving options to transfer to other place. Will you accept? Yeah, only you are
Yeah, I
right.
think I would definitely consider something like that. given that, on maybe even if on a temporary basis, I would consider something like that. I think it would be a good experience to work in a different culture,
Yeah.
on a different kind of, in a different kind of environment, different kinds of clients, etc. So I
Mm.
think, yeah, I would be open to that. I think it would be a good opportunity to look at.
Okay, so in BITS Dubai, you might be seeing the students from all part of India, even north, south, west, east, wherever. And but did you
Yeah.
find the same environment in IIM Bangalore as well, where the major portion of students admitted?
No, I think, yeah, very, very diverse set of candidates in Bangalore also.
Hmm,
And I think it gets even more interesting in the fifth term when we go out for exchange.
hmm,
Students from all over the world come into IIM Bangalore for their 3 months of exchange.
hmm,
So you really see a very good kind of mix, a global mix, I would say, during those 3 months. And even without that, I think you have people from all parts of the country. Some students from overseas, like me.
hmm, hmm,
We
hmm,
had
hmm,
people from Malaysia, we had people from Singapore, Hong Kong,
hmm.
and I was there from Dubai. So I think a very, very diverse mix of students. No, as such, no preference to any location as such.
It was about the campus. So, what about the cities? How will you compare it between Dubai and Bangalore? Where did you
Very
enjoy
difficult.
more?
No, I think that each place has its own offering. I think Bangalore wins in weather any day.
Ah,
Dubai, yeah, it is never. At least when I was there, it never used to get warm. So I
hmm,
think loved the weather there. But I think every city has its own, vibe to offer. I think so. Very difficult to compare which of these is better actually.
hmm, hmm, hmm. Yeah, that is true. So I think so many things we discussed, Jayad, and anything you which you wanted to give to message give to those students who are recently graduating and they are not able to get a job. They are they are going through their you can say depression level. They are of course looking for opportunities and so due to the lack of opportunity they are still sitting at home. So how would you suggest that what kind of techniques, what kind of things they should prefer? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think one obviously one should try to develop at least one thing that is rare, or I would say is not present in anyone else. So let me give you an example. So when I was in college,
Hmm.
I was one of the few people who could develop iOS apps.
Yeah.
So back then, that opened up a lot of doors for me in terms of going outside as a freelance mentor, or doing an iOS development course in college. So I think one, people need to keep trying new things,
Yeah.
and as and when people keep trying things, I think they will find that one thing that really resonates with them,
Hmm.
and something that they can do over and over again, and then they should attempt to get as good as they can
Hmm.
in it, and then that can further translate into the kind of job they want. I mean, they should also try and look at how marketable that skill is in the market,
Hmm.
how valuable that skill is in that market,
Hmm.
and then approach the pursuit of a job.
Hmm.
Because what a person or what a recruiter is essentially looking for
Hmm.
is a skill that cannot be matched, or a skill that is valuable to them.
Hmm.
So I think developing that one core competency, one core skill is very important.
Hmm.
Second, I think keep trying. I mean, the more number of applications you make, even if there is a 1% probability of conversion, if you make 100 applications, you will get one. If you make 200, you will get two.
Hmm.
If I just go very, very broadly.
Yeah.
So I think
True.
they should keep trying, keep trying. I think the moment they give up in their head,
Hmm.
the battle is lost. So
True.
I think it is it is important to keep applying to places, keep looking for offers,
Hmm.
and then take things ahead from there. But I think two messages: one, try and develop a core competency, and second, keep trying. If keep applying and keep trying, something or
Hmm.
the other will click or will match.
Okay, but I think you are in computer science, so you are more and more confident. If the you, you have the options to join software industry as well as the consulting company as well. How exactly the students who are in mechanical, electronics, civil, and they are getting into the IIM, say, a top business school. How they will manage? What kind of companies they should prefer?
No, so I think after, so again, companies that come for recruitment during MBAs,
Hmm,
they don't essentially look for a computer science background.
hmm,
So I have seen people who were in mechanical in their college days,
hmm,
but they worked a coding job,
hmm,
came to IIM for an MBA, and then got into product management. So essentially, it all depends on what experience or what value you can bring to the table. If
hmm,
you are not from a computer science background but you know how to get a product delivered
hmm,
from conceptualization to the final development, etc., you are aware of that, then
hmm.
you are a good fit for product management. It does not have to do with what background you are from essentially.
That's what the many people used to give the example. Sundar Pichai, non-computer science, now leading to one of the world top software company. So I think this branch doesn't matter, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And
Absolutely.
how will you tell about this social networking side? Which networking side you trust more, and where people should give more and more time?
Oh, I would prefer none actually. I mean, given the whole suspicion around what data they are capturing versus not, I think it is just a matter of, for me, I think I spend most of my time on WhatsApp because that's where I talk to my clients, that's where I talk to my family, friends, etc. That is where I
Hmm.
spend most of my time. So essentially, in other social media, I don't have much of a preference. I, in fact, don't even post very often.
Hmm.
So I think most of my time goes on WhatsApp. But again, if I take into consideration data privacy, I think none of them, I would not be comfortable with any of them.
No, for the job opportunities and building the alumni networks, uh, which one you will suggest? Where the
I think people should first, first of all, start build a good resume. I think
Hmm,
that is step one.
hmm,
After that, I think LinkedIn is a good way to start. I think given that there's a lot of good quality people there, a lot
yeah,
of and the access to alumni from your own college, access to people from all over the world is much higher. So
hmm,
I think LinkedIn is definitely a good mode for networking with people.
hmm,
Jobs, again, I personally have not actively searched for a job yet,
hmm,
so I am not very aware of what is the best portal or best place to get a job.
hmm,
But I think, yeah, people can go with the standard Naukri, Monster, or Beth or etc. in Dubai.
hmm,
So I think, yeah, lots of options. I think regardless of the regardless of the medium, I think it all depends on how aggressively you want to apply.
exactly,
There are
true.
people there are people who stay exclusively at LinkedIn. There are people who apply to all the places
Hmm,
at many options. So I
hmm,
think it varies from person to person. I personally don't have a very strong opinion in this.
hmm, 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 hmm. Okay. So any message to your juniors who are going to be graduate this incoming after 3 or 3 months?
No, I think one key message is that I would give is to give back to
Hmm,
the college. I think what when I came out of BITS, I think one of the things that I personally struggled with during my IIM applications was
hmm,
somebody from an overseas BITS kind of background who could guide me through the process. So I had to figure out a lot of things on my own. So after that, I decided that okay, I will try and come to campus every year, talk to some of the juniors on how I went about doing things,
hmm,
stay in
hmm,
touch with them. So I think, yeah, I think they should always think about how they can give back to the college. Maybe do a talk to guide the students. Maybe pick a student who shares a similar interest,
hmm,
mentor them. Like
Hmm.
I mentored a couple of students from BITS, couple of juniors, and one of them, came to IIMB and now got a summer internship at BCG. So
Hmm.
I think that will be a very very satisfying experience if you just think about how you can contribute to that alumni network.
True. That is true. Actually, that's what these are why these colleges like BITS Pilani is different from other places, because here the
Yeah,
alumni
yeah,
networks are giving back to their institute so that the juniors they should also go one step ahead to them. So
yeah.
this is the reason, yeah. So thanks, Zayed. Thanks for finding out the precious time for me, and definitely this our session is going to help to many peoples.
No,
Thanks a
no,
lot.
it's absolutely my pleasure. I mean, and it's very good to reconnect. I think it's been quite some time having talked on campus. So I think yeah, very very good to talk to you. And thanks for the opportunity. I think had a great conversation, and maybe look forward to seeing you sometime when I'm in Dubai. Yeah,
Yeah, sure. Always
sure.
welcome, dear. Yeah. Thank you, see.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye bye.